Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman, I'm the Nerd on the Street, and this is your network update for fall 2023. Okay everyone, it's been too long since the last network update. It's been well over a year, so even though I haven't made a ton of videos this year, it was time for me to do another one of these. First of all, in my last network update in the middle of 2022, I announced that I was taking a 6-month break from the channel in order to focus on my graduate studies. And this announcement is super delayed for the YouTube channel. Everyone who knows me in person already knows this, but for the record, I did graduate last year, December 2022, with a Master of Science in Information Systems and a 4.0 GPA. So I did get that degree done. I think it was a good idea to take a break from videos because I would have been able to graduate either way, but I'm not sure I would have been able to pull the 4.0 GPA off if I wasn't fully focused on doing that. So that is out of the way. I am still a bit busy. I've still been studying for a language certification this year. My IT certifications are starting to come up for renewal again, so it's about to be cert season for me there, so I've still got studying to do. And in an unexpected but not unwelcome development, I actually kind of got a life this year. So I've honestly not been super focused on making YouTube videos. It's just not where my priority's been this year. That's why the videos have been so sparse, even though I did finish that schooling last year. Now, I'm obviously still here, and I do want to announce that in a little under a week, I'm going to be doing a live stream here on the Tech YouTube channel and at live.nots.co. I'm going to be doing a web server upgrade stream. The Nerd on the Street web server is currently running Debian 11. Debian 12 was released this past summer. I've upgraded a lot of my other boxes. Most of my single-purpose servers are already upgraded, but the main Nerd on the Street web server, it's running like 8 or 10 different websites. Some of those websites care when you switch the PHP version out, and the Debian upgrade is also a PHP upgrade. I think it's going from PHP 7 to 8. So some manual intervention is likely to be required, and I decided to save that one until I could do it on video. You guys can watch me do that. And if you guys want to show up to that live stream next week, you're welcome to chat and just ask other tech questions while I'm working on that. The NOTS web server upgrade stream is going to be Sunday, November 26th, 2023 at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and it'll probably go for a couple of hours. Next up, just some other things to announce. At the end of last year, after I finished that master's degree, I did take a couple of hours one day and did a very short Extra Life Light live stream for charity, raising money for the St. Louis Children's Hospital. Extra Life is an event I try to participate in every year. This year's another year. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that or not. I don't know if I want to do a light stream 2 years in a row. If it does happen, it's going to be probably towards the end of December again, but last year I did do that. I'm not wearing the shirt today because it seems like in half the channel updates I do, I'm wearing Extra Life merchandise. Normally I used to wear these in the first video I did after those live streams, but here's one of the 2 t-shirts I got. This one was actually specific to the St. Louis Extra Life effort. I did also get the standard National Extra Life t-shirt. That one I think is still back in St. Louis. They sent it to me in January, like a couple days after I came back here to Denver, and I was back home earlier this year, but I think I completely slipped my mind to grab that national one. But yeah, I did want to show that, so thanks to the few of you who showed up there. Like I said, it was a very short stream and it was not heavily publicized, so if you missed it, you missed it. It should be on the live stream DVR for Nerd Club members at nerdonthestreet.com. But yeah, there is that. Another quick thing I wanted to do. Earlier this year, Red Hat actually contacted me, and it's funny, this was right about when Red Hat announced their licensing changes. So people on, Reddit and Hacker News and other websites were very upset with Red Hat because they basically announced the Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system, it's under a free software license, so if you're using that operating system, you are legally entitled to get a copy of the source code. However, Red Hat published a new change to their contract for support that said, first of all, they don't provide that source code unless you're paying for a support contract, and that's legal and that's part of the license, so that's fair. But they also announced that if you actually share that source code elsewhere, under the open source license, they can't actually prevent you from sharing the source code elsewhere, but if you do, they will terminate your support contract, which means you'll no longer get updates from Red Hat, and you also won't be able to get future versions of the source code anymore, since you won't have that contract in place. So it was kind of a loophole around some provisions of the GPL and other free software licenses. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of that. I understand why they did it. because some large enterprises were apparently paying for a small number of Red Hat support contracts and then using free Red Hat clones like CentOS or more third-party ones like Rocky or Alma Linux, which led to Red Hat being billed for a disproportionate amount of effort compared to what they are actually being paid to support. I understand why they did it, like I said. Still not a huge fan, but right around that time, I don't know if Red Hat decided to do some kind of social media PR thing or if this was just completely unrelated. But a social media specialist at Red Hat named Katie reached out to me around August and offered to send me some Red Hat merch. This FedEx tag, the shipper name is Callie, so it's a different person. So at least 2 people at Red Hat were involved in this. So yeah, I received this in September. I feel a little bad that it's taken me this long to open it, but they did not even ask me to open this up on video or anything. It was literally just no strings attached. We want to send you some stuff. I assume they thought that I might wear some of this in a video or something. But I thought I would go ahead and open this up here on camera while I'm doing a network update. So just zoom the camera out a little bit and we'll go ahead and do that. See what Red Hat sent us here. I just got some of the whiteout that I used to cover up my address onto my hands while I was moving the box around. So this is already more trouble than it's worth, which is why I don't make a lot of videos anymore. But whatever, let's cut this thing open. Okay, and to refresh your guys' memory, I am a Red Hat certified engineer, which is their second level of certification. I've also got my RHCSA, which is the first level. And I made videos a couple years ago about Ansible. If this effort was entirely unrelated to the licensing thing going on this year, then I would assume they found me through my Ansible videos, since Ansible is a Red Hat product. I don't really cover Red Hat too much anymore. I've covered Fedora a little bit, and Red Hat's dropped some of their financial support to Fedora this year around the same time as that licensing stuff was happening. But okay, this is quite a bit that they've sent. So let's see here. I've got a card. I'll try not to get the whiteout from my hand onto this stuff. I think it's dried already though. So this is a tweet or an X post from Red Hat. It says, "Your social media content rocks. Keep up the great work contributing quality technology content to the community." And it's hard for me to tell also how personalized this stuff actually is, but that's what I try to do. I try to contribute quality technology content. And it's got some of Red Hat's social stuff written on the bottom there, nothing on the back of that card. So I'll set that down here. We've got a mouse pad with a wrist rest at the bottom there. I don't have any. Actually, I think I've got one mouse pad with me here in Denver. I obviously don't use one normally. I just use my Logitech laser mouse on my wood desk. And even when I'm doing things like gaming, which I hardly ever do, that's still enough accuracy for me. But I don't have any mouse pads with the actual little bump there. I don't know. Can you see it? If I hold it over the white door on this side of the frame, you might be able to tell there's a pad that your wrist is supposed to go on. I don't know if that's actually good for your wrist or not. I don't know. I feel like I've heard mixed things about those over the years, but yeah, there's that, and some plastic covering on the back. I guess the bottom of this is going to be some kind of rubber that will keep it from slipping around on your desk when you take that plastic off. I'm gonna toss that down. My physical setup right now is not great for having extra things around, and I'll talk about that, I guess, after this part of the video. All right, next up, what am I gonna pull out here? I've got, this is some kind of, this feels like a sandbag. It's long. It says Red Hat on it, which is cool. I was kind of hoping they'd send me a red hat, but I think those are only for employees or something, if they even do that anymore at all. So this, what is this? It's got the logo on the top, and then on the bottom it's sort of a felt material. And I'm actually not sure what this is supposed to be or supposed to be used for. I don't think it's anything you'd wear. It's not long enough. It's not quite long enough to be like a door. It might be a door stop, because it's not long enough to actually cover the entire bottom of a door, like to stop drafts. There's a logo on that tag on the side of it. Toddy Gear. It's hard for me to even read that logo since it's in some weird cursive font there. But yeah, I might have to actually look up what this is supposed to do later. So there's that. It might be, if it's supposed to go with the mouse pad, then maybe you set this in front of your keyboard, because it's a little less than the entire length of my Apple aluminum keyboard here, my wired keyboard with numpad. But it might be just a wrist rest for when you're typing on the keyboard. Once again, I'm not sure if that's actually a good thing to have. Don't know if that's good for the body or not, to rest your wrists on things while you're using them. Okay, but we'll toss that down and keep going here. What's this white box at the top? Curious about the white box. Stay Cool Corksicle. That's a brand. All right, we're gonna open this up. This is absolutely gonna be the longest part of the channel update, just unboxing random Red Hat stuff. So take that out and, okay, it does say Red Hat on it. See, I was expecting it to be like red or something, or like black with a red logo, but it's got the Red Hat logo and word mark there. So we've got a mug. That's cool. I've been using a closed top water bottle since I've been in this smaller space. I really miss my apartment when I used a mug similar to this more often, but this one has a top, so I don't know. I could try to start using this. It's got a lid that sort of slides open. You know, you can put hot drinks in there, cold drinks. I normally just drink water, so if it keeps water cold, that's cool. Yeah, that's looks like a nice mug. It's got a rubber base with a sticker on it right now. I don't think that my previous mug even had a rubber base. It was a very cheap one from like Target or Walmart that I had previously been using. And yeah, the rubber base is nice if you're gonna set it directly on a desk. I usually use a coaster. So there's a mug. Next up, we've got, oh, this is funny. This is actually really funny. So this is a Red Hat water bottle. And if you notice, this is almost the same size and shape as my current water bottle. It is a little bit cheaper. My current one has one of those UV decontaminators that I hardly ever use. I almost never turn that thing on intentionally. It's been turning on unintentionally more and more often lately. But my current water bottle does have a rubber base. This water bottle does not. This new one, it's just got a metal base. And yeah, Mir brand there, but this does say Red Hat on it, so that's cool. And the top of it, it's got one of those handles you can, you know, hold it by, but you also use that to unscrew it. And then it's just kind of a thermos thing. So yeah, I've got a couple of these at this point. One of the other ones I have that's almost the same design, it says Colorado on it, which I'm not going to use that because I hate Colorado. But yeah, Red Hat one, I might actually, you know, I might want to rep that. So that's cool. All right, next up, this is kind of a large item. I don't know, this is probably super cheap headphones. I'd have to look up what model they are. LifeTune XR, wireless. So I don't normally use wireless anything that goes on my body, but wireless noise canceling headphones. I don't have any noise canceling headphones right now. This might be useful for me to use at work because it can get quite loud there in the office when I do go in. But it says multi-mode, active noise canceling. I've actually been thinking about trying to pick up a noise canceling pair, so that's cool. It says Soundcore by Anchor. Yeah, I'd have to look up, like I said, how high end or low end these actually are, but we got some stuff on the other side of it. I'm curious if these say Red Hat anywhere in them. So I want to take these out of the box just to check if they've got like logos on the ears or anything. Looks like we've got a carrying case for them in there. Take that out. So here is, we've got the part of the box that's supposed to hang it on a shelf is stuck to the plastic here, but we've got a manual for these headphones. And then inside of our carrying case here, that's a little bit more compact than my current headphone carrying case. Okay, so this is what it looks like in the box, or in the case. A little bit of probably foam that you're not supposed to reuse, but I probably will. And then some cables and things in a small drawstring bag. Okay, and yeah, these say active noise canceling. Okay, so I'm noticing, like on the ears, there's no Red Hat logo there. That's just random other logos. But on the top, it does say Red Hat. So if you're wearing these, you know, oh, and that is quite a seal. My current headphones have gotten pretty old, so the seal is not great on them anymore, especially because my beard really does a number on the material. But yeah, if you're just wearing these normally, nobody can tell that it's Red Hat. But if you look down, then somebody can see that it's Red Hat. So yeah, that's probably the most bizarre one. Okay, and the memory foam is already very deformed after just wearing that for just a couple of seconds there. I didn't notice it being that deformed before I put them on. I did have them on backwards. It's supposed to be this way. So yeah, that is the most bizarre item that they've included in this box so far. But that's cool. Set this on the desk. And there's one more thing in the box here. Rocketbook Fusion, all-in-one planner, calendar, and notebook that says Red Hat right there. And this box is sort of smashed in from all the other merch that was on top of it. But if it's just paper, it should be okay. And it comes with an app, scan and save, reuse endlessly. So maybe, I wonder if this is some kind of dry erase thing. Take that notebook out there. Made in USA. Okay. And got something in here. We have a manual for our notebook. Red Hat's great at documentation. I'm joking, of course. Red Hat didn't have anything to do with the notebook production here, I wouldn't imagine. But yeah, this looks like some kind of, I've got an eraser here. Oh, so even though the notebook was made in USA, the eraser was made in China. But yeah, this is just a large, it looks like well, it says 90% polyester, 10% polyamide. It looks kind of microfiber-ish. I don't know if it actually is. And yeah, this is like a planner. It feels like paper, honestly. It doesn't feel like anything dry erase, and it didn't come with a marker or anything. So I don't know how reusable this actually is, or if you like write on it with a pen and then clean it off with liquid. I guess the manual here, it says endlessly reusable. Dampen part of the included microfiber towel, I was right about that, and wipe the page. Then wipe it down with the dry portion of the towel. Make sure the page is dry before writing on it again. For easier erasing, use a fine mist spray bottle that it doesn't come with. Wipe it off if you're not going to use it for a month or more. And okay, so there's a pen included, or there's a pen that's supposed to be included. Maybe it was in that microfiber thing, because it says write with the fancy proprietary pen, and then allow 15 seconds for it to dry after you write. Where is the pen? I'm curious if that's included in this. Yeah, there's no pen in this microfiber bag. Oh, okay. So in the box here, there's a compartment in there that you have to hold the side flap of that box open. So here is our erasable pen that we can write in that planner with, because nobody who's into Linux is going to be using anything like an electronic planner, because we have to reinstall so much that we lose all the data every time. So of course we're going to use paper, right? Maybe that's the story there. I don't know. Okay, so that's everything that's in this box. So hey, thanks Red Hat. Like I said, Red Hat did not pay me to do that, and Red Hat did not even request that I open that up on video. I just thought it'd be fun, more fun than doing it on my own time. So yeah, I'll have to find places for all of this later. All right, so moving on in the update, like I said, I'm currently in a very enclosed, very small, cramped living space, and that includes the office here. That's part of why I haven't made videos as much over this past year. You know, when I had an actual space, when I had an actual office, even though the office was not exclusively for Nerd on the Street, I also used it for like school and everything else I'm doing, you know, I could have my tripod out just all the time. And then if I had a few minutes over a weekend to record a video, I could turn the camera on, you know, not have to take the tripod out of the bag and set it all up and everything. I could just turn the camera on and start recording. The living space that I'm in now, it's probably the second smallest space I've had to deal with for Nerd on the Street. It is larger, I think. Pretty sure it's larger functionally than the bedroom that I was in college when I was there for like 6 months, right after I transferred away from university, but before I moved into a different, larger space. It was a place that was so cramped I had to have a green screen draped behind me most of the time, because there was so much crap behind me that it would have just looked terrible if I didn't have that green screen there. This space is better than that, but it is much smaller than all the other spaces that I've worked with. And critically, my bedroom is the same room as my office again. This is a setup I didn't ever want to go back to after I graduated from college the first time. When I moved out into my first apartment back in St. Louis, that first one was a 2-bedroom apartment, and one of them I was using as a bedroom, and the other bedroom was my office. I finally had a dedicated office again after losing the Nerd on the Street studio that was in my parents' house that got sold. You know, and it's such a mental thing being able to walk away from Nerd on the Street stuff and like go to sleep and not have computers in the room. A lot of times I didn't even bring my phone into my bedroom with me. Like when I go to sleep, I like to disconnect from everything on the computer. I just had a tablet with like a different set of apps, but very few that I'm signed into. You know, no messaging stuff, no social media stuff, and just be able to separate out personal just life from office stuff. And yeah, when I moved to Denver, since Denver is so overpriced, I had to downsize from 2-bedroom apartment to a more expensive 1-bedroom apartment in the Denver metro area, and both the apartments that I've had here in Colorado have been 1-bedroom. But even with those, the first apartment I actually used the bedroom as an office, and then I put my bed out in the living room, which tells you where my priorities were at the time, really caring about Nerd on the Street, really wanted to have an office. When I moved into that last apartment, I just used the living room space as an office, which had worse acoustics because there was no carpet in there. But it was slightly better for space, and it was just much better mentally, like I said. And yeah, now I'm back to the same old story. I've got a bed directly behind the camera that you can't see. I'm down to one desk that I'm using day to day. My other desk is in this room also because I don't have anywhere else to put it. But it is, it's basically a shelf. It's being used as a shelf because there's not enough space around it to actually use it as a desk. And I made the decision to move in here after last year. My apartment complex tried to raise my rent by like $350 or $400 per month. And it was already kind of expensive rent in the first place. But they were also, I had issues with noise with them. Neighbors would go out and use the common area with a pool and everything late at night after it was supposed to be closed, and the apartment management never did anything about it. And after dealing with that for like 2 years, they wanted me to start paying $400 a month more to keep dealing with it. And I said no, but then I looked around at other apartments in the Denver area, and the new amount that they were asking, the insanely high amount, was actually the going market rate for a 1-bedroom apartment because people in Denver and Colorado just don't have standards for their lives. So fortunately, I had a friend from my board gaming group. He actually has a house. He had a half story of the house that was unoccupied. So he offered me to start renting there, and that's where I am right now. But it's only a half story. I've got 1 bedroom. I've got a tiny loft that, it's not big enough to fit a single desk, so it's really not usable for anything but storage once again. And then I've got my own bathroom here. I'm sharing a kitchen, and I've been cooking and eating healthy way less this year because of that. And yeah, Nerd of the Street has suffered because of it. Financially, it's been great. I've been, the deal that he's given me on rent is so drastically cheaper than an actual apartment that just financially it would have been a mistake to do anything else. But yeah, it's been a sacrifice because in exchange for having a lot more money in the bank, I'm in this setup that feels like I'm in high school again. It feels like I don't have my own space. It's super cramped, and yeah, I'm actually having to break down my tripod and put it back in the bag when I'm not working on videos because I don't have room to walk around in this room when the tripod is up. I don't know when that's going to change. I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon. I don't think it is. Just with where my life is at right now, you can tell I'm kind of having a crisis in life because I've got GNOME running on my computer, if you can see the top bar there. That's connected to the fact that there's an NVIDIA graphics card in my computer back here, and I recorded an unboxing for that. Haven't published it yet because I haven't been able to do anything productive with the graphics card that I wouldn't have been able to do with the previous one yet. But I did get that graphics card partially to try and finish up Displaced Season 3 because I'm tired of that show being an open end here at Nerd on the Street. But yeah, I'm not sure what the point of this whole direction of speech was. I guess just so you guys know, I'm in a very cramped space, and yeah, videos, like I said, they haven't been my priority this year. I've been going out, doing things with other people. And the space that I'm in has actually negatively affected some of my personal relationships as well. But like I said, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, wanting to be here in Denver for the specific job that I'm currently still at. And yeah, not really sure what direction I would want to go even if I was going to move somewhere else today. So I do still want to keep making some videos. I've got some that are sort of lined up just so you guys have an idea of what's coming up here on the tech channel. I am running OwnCloud Infinite Scale as one of the web services on my NAS right now, and I want to make a video about setting up OwnCloud Infinite Scale. That was what I was working on during that Extra Life Lite stream last year, was going through the steps to get OwnCloud Infinite Scale set up. It's a lot more complicated than classic OwnCloud or Nextcloud because it's not just a PHP web application anymore. It's a bunch of microservices. So you basically need to use something like Docker or like a really complicated systemd setup to manage all those services. I went the Docker route for now. But OwnCloud Infinite Scale is a very nice piece of software when you're not running into any of its paper cuts and non-finished features. When you are, then it's frustrating because they're not focusing on the front end of that software at all. The OwnCloud developers, they just care about this complicated, super scalable back end. And they're very basic front end stuff like having previews of images that aren't cropped. They just haven't, they've taken a very long time to implement them. That one in particular, there was an image cropping bug. I was waiting for them to cut a new release because they fixed the bug, but they haven't released the bug fix in a standard release yet. So I was trying to hold out for them to cut a release with that before I made my video about OwnCloud Infinite Scale. But it is a great alternative to something like Nextcloud if you don't need all the extra features, if you don't need document editing or, the app ecosystem, if you're not using it for calendar and contacts and other stuff, if you just want file storage, you want something like Dropbox, or, Google Drive basic features, or something like File Run that I reviewed years ago. OwnCloud Infinite Scale, it's open source, and it's a great alternative to any of those things. So I do want to make a video about that sometime soon. I'm not sure if that one's going to be this year or not. At this point, we're almost into December, and I do have an important exam coming up in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if there's going to be a tech video in December or not. The other video I would like to do is a part 3 to my NAS series. Every time I do a build series on this channel, like a computer building series, I never finish it. There's always one last part that I never get around to making. It happened with this AMD desktop. I think it's happened with some other builds, but my NAS, I made 2 videos about it a couple of years ago about setting that NAS up or building it physically, picking the parts out, architecting my ZFS RAID setup. I've been using the NAS for the last couple of years, and it's been working so great. I never have to worry about it. I go in and I install updates every now and then for security purposes, but I'm running a lot of web services on it, and I'm relying on it day to day, and it's just been working awesome. So the third part of that video, what I want to do is show all the software that I have set up and kind of talk about how it's been going, how using that NAS has gone, things that I may change if I was doing it again from the ground up, or things that I would highly recommend you copy if you're building your own NAS system at home. And the nice thing about a NAS, and I knew this going into the series, is that it doesn't really get outdated like a computer does. This computer that's sitting right behind me, I was going to make a benchmarking video as the last part of that series. I never got around to it. And after a couple of years, there was no point in making a benchmarking video for a 2-year-old computer. Nobody cares about that anymore. Even with a RTX 4090 in there, it's still got a super old motherboard, a kind of old processor. Benchmarks would be irrelevant on that thing. But with a NAS, the things that I'm talking about, software stuff, RAID architecture, that's stuff that you still care about, even if you're building a brand new NAS with newer parts today. The services that you're running on it are still going to be very similar, and you can still learn from the things that are running on my NAS when it comes to making your NAS. So that's still going to be a useful video, even though I've waited so long to finally finish that series. So I'm excited to do that one, just because that has been such a cool thing to have, such a useful computer in my setup to have. So the NAS Part 3 video is definitely one I want to get around to finally making. And yeah, of course, I've got other smaller or more complicated ideas that aren't quite as well thought out yet. You might get some of that next year. As of right now, I really don't know where Nerd on the Street's going. I did want to be very upfront about that, and I think I have been. This past summer, I made a text post to our Patreon page explaining what's going on, why I haven't been making as many videos, and just acknowledging that, because I know we do still have some Nerd Club members who are funding Nerd on the Street. Part of me thinks about pausing the Patreon or shutting that down, because I kind of feel bad every month when I get that notification that money is coming in and I haven't made a video in the last month. The main reason I'm not going to do that right now is because my bills for Nerd on the Street are also not paused. Nerd on the Street really needs 3 core pieces of infrastructure to run. We've got the domain names, the web hosting, and then the video CDN account. And those are the 3 things that keep nerdonthestreet.com running. I think it's valuable to have all of my content available on my own platform, where if YouTube goes under tomorrow, all of my videos will still be available on there. Most of my videos are mirrored over on Dailymotion, but they're all on a single channel. nerdonthestreet.com, I've got them all organized, just as good or better than they are on YouTube. And I see from my analytics that I am getting page hits on there. People are finding that useful. Of course, I've also got the text components to some of my tutorials and stuff that are hosted on that website. And yeah, I am getting really good money's worth out of my web hosting. Like I said, I'm hosting 10 websites on one fairly small Linode server. It's not like I'm spending money just to spend money, but I'm frugally running a lot of web stuff right now. And I have to keep all that online. I want to keep all that online. So for that reason, the Nerd on the Street Patreon is still running, which is, that's the Nerd Club thing. If you are a Nerd Club member, like I said in that post over the summer, I completely understand if you want to cancel for now, and then you can think about rejoining the Nerd Club if and when I ever start getting into making videos every single month again in the future. I won't be offended by that or hurt by that. I completely understand. If you do want to keep helping keep Nerd on the Street online, even during this period of time when I'm not fully focused on making videos, it's still greatly appreciated. And yeah, all that money is in one way or another going back towards Nerd on the Street and me and everything I do to make this stuff happen. So this is a pretty long channel update. That Red Hat unboxing probably took longer than it was supposed to, but that's just about everything I wanted to talk about today. Like I said, Sunday, November September 26th at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Come tune into that live stream if you want to chat. But aside from that, I'm Jacob Kaufman. I'm the Nerd on the Street, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.